The way you sell is by not selling. That sounds like an oxymoron. It sounds ridiculous, but it is true. In this episode of The Content Box, we're going to go through how you can sell without overtly selling, because that is what works today. Welcome back to The Content Box, your out-of-the-box full-service marketing solution. My name is Matt Tompkins. We're Tracy Winkler. What just happened? I don't know. Tracy Winkler is here with me today. We are with Two Brothers Creative, and we're a little quirky. We're a little different.
Are you keeping that?
I'm keeping that. I say we leave it in the episode. I mean,
oh my goodness. Okay, it's the end of the day. It's been a long day.
I know. It has been a long day. We're a little tired, but excited to talk about today's topic, because today we are talking about selling. And this is important because you can't grow your business without selling, right?
Correct.
Let's frame this up this way. First, you have your marketing. What is the point of marketing? It's to support your sales. Mm-hmm. What is the point of sales? To give you revenue.
Yes.
What is the point of revenue? To grow, have a business in the first place. You know? So without sales, it really is, you're not going to grow very fast if you're not selling anything, right? So how do you sell? And let's say you're pushing out the links every Facebook, Instagram post. It's like links. You're promoting, but you're not getting results. Why aren't you getting results? Well, we're going to answer that today. We're going to go through how we got here. Wow, this isn't working right now. Why this is important, why this matters, and then what we can do about it. And we're going to walk through a specific plan, and we have a worksheet that is a downloadable worksheet for free that we're going to give you here in the show. We're going to walk through that, because that is how you can sell without selling.
Yes.
Now, Tracy, you've worked in sales a long time, longer than me, and I think you're really good at like this slow build, like the slow relationship build. But the slow relationship build always pays off like 20 times more than the hard push, right? The quick sale. I need this now.
Yeah, because it's a desperate move, and you're actually basically, well, that'd be like if we were out and I said, "Hey, my name's Tracy. Would you like to marry me?"
Yeah, just out of the blue.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. And so, no, we have to date before we can get married. We have to crawl before we can walk. And so it is really important that people are actually taking the time to ask questions and listen.
Yes. And
let's build relationships.
We're going to go through things. There's actually kind of 5 core things you want to do in any sort of sales situation. We're going to get to that. When I was a kid, ever since I was a kid, I should say, I hated sales. I hated it. Like, I remember being a Boy Scout.
Yep.
And we had to sell Boy Scout popcorn.
Yep.
I hated it, like with a passion. I'm like, I don't.
Why'd you hate it so much?
Because sales to me, in my head, up until probably a few years ago, I had this version of you're manipulating someone to buy something they don't need. It's like this. I thought of car salesmen, and it's like, oh, it's sleazy. It's just this hard push. I read a couple books, and it kind of opened my mind a little bit, right?
Okay.
I love marketing, and marketing is life to me. I mean, I think life is marketing. It's all those relationships, that you were just talking about. And I read this book, and it opened my mind, because I started looking at sales the same way I looked at marketing, and then I realized sales, that's bad sales. Like the car salesman, the sleazy part. Real sales, you're actually just solving a problem for someone. You're giving them something that they need. It's going to improve their life. And it's all about relationships.
It is all about relationships. And you get the opportunity to just ask good questions.
Yes.
Right? So you're not selling. Mm-hmm. You're curious.
Yes.
So stay curious.
It's kind of like when I coach podcasters, and I say, it's not an interview. It's a conversation. It's just, you have to think of things, frame it in your mind a little bit differently. And so I remember I called my grandma, I think like 20 times. That's how I would sell popcorn. I would just call grandma. She'd buy like 20 buckets of
then you're done.
Popcorn. Yeah, but I grew out of that, because sales is not what we think. We kind of don't want to do it. We think it's this like cold calling, just miserable experience. It's not when you do it right. And so that's what we want to show you here today. So how did you get to this point where it's like you're pushing sales, you're not getting leads? it's like the hunter farmer mentality. So right now you might be stuck in a hunter mindset where you're like, I gotta go kill to eat, so I have something to eat tonight for dinner, and so I don't starve. And like the farmer mindset is more planning, long term,
seeds,
right? Planting seeds, nurturing that seed so you have crops, and they produce seeds, and then you don't have to do anything but just sit there and cultivate your crops.
You keep doing it consistently, and I always go at the approach that I'm not expecting anything. So when I go to meet people, it's like I'm not there to sell to them. It's build a relationship, just be curious, ask some great questions, because number one, I need to see if they're a good fit also.
Yes.
And it just makes it easy. It's not so much pressure on it.
So let's get into like why this is important.
Yeah.
This is, I think it's an important mindset to have, because if you walk into the room and you're just pushing, it's not going to work. I remember when we were just starting out here, and I had a streak of like a year where, business like literally just more than doubled. And it's like, I in my head, I'm thinking, I got this. And so I got a little cocky in my head. And we had a person come in, like, we need to do a website and a logo and stuff. And so I'm meeting with him, and I put together this whole proposal, and I'm like throwing it at him. And afterwards he's just like, man, I just wanted to like have a conversation. And like, I went way too hard, way too fast. And when you do that, the unfortunate thing is like the relationship is kind of unrepairable. Like you can't go back and undo that, It's kind of like that's the impression they're going to have forever. And it's going to be really hard to mend that. So there's a lot of risk by doing sales the wrong way.
It is. Now, I'm going to go a different direction. What about LinkedIn? Do you ever get private messages on LinkedIn that you have never met him and they want to book a call with you?
Yeah.
Let's book a strategy call. And it's like, whoa. Let's slow this roll down, babe.
Email marketing. What you need to do is like, let's start going through the process here.
Yeah.
So you're looking to build a relationship. That's how
Correct.
you want to approach this. And any relationship, whether it's sales, business, or personal, there are 3 stages, right? The first stage is like the discovery stage, right?
Yep.
You need to get their attention. So let's imagine, I don't know, do we want to do me or you running down the beach?
Oh my, it's you.
Okay. All right. So let's say you're
and I'm running away.
All right, I'm running down the beach, slow motion, like Baywatch style,
Okay,
David Hasselhoff.
I got it. Yep.
I'm running in slow motion, and I got a 6-pack,
Okay.
Just glistening in the sun.
Get the oil
all over my body. I'm just burning up.
Yep.
In a, I don't know, Speedo, probably not a Speedo. That probably wouldn't work. But okay, I'm running down the thing, and you see him. Oh man, that's a one attractive man there. And you discover I've got your attention, right?
Right.
I've got your attention. The next stage is the enlightenment phase. So this is the phase where they learn about you. And this is the part where they build trust with you. And so then you find out like, oh, this guy running on the beach. It turns out he's like really smart. He's kind. He's a single dad, and he's donates and works at these charity organizations. And, he actually listens to me, and
he's enlightening.
He cleans up the cereal off the floor when he eats at midnight.
That's
it's just
good.
So you learn about him, and then that builds up to the commitment. The commitment is like, okay, let's get married. Let's do this. Now, there are some people who they discover you and then they commit. Like some people, Tracy, because the other night, Tracy she's on some website and she's like, hey, this is kind of a cool thing. And like she bought something for like $500. And I looked at it. I'm like, Tracy, why did you buy this? This doesn't make sense.
And I just got the refund today.
So right away, she's like, I'm going to see if I can get a refund. So Tracy went from like discovery to let's get married
I got
pretty
married
fast.
way too fast.
And it backfired.
It did.
Fortunately, you get your money back. But still, so take the slow approach. All right. So
here's 5 things that you should do.
Okay.
You should make sure to ask really good questions, right? I got my little list here.
Questions are great in any situation.
Oh, absolutely. Actually, and listen to what they're saying, because the more they talk, the more they tell.
Yes.
And if they're talking to you and they keep talking to you and you're asking more questions, they're there for a reason. They have a problem. If they would stop listening at like 1 or 2 questions and like bolt on you, they didn't get enlightened.
And here's the thing with questions and that's how I always lead off, like discovery calls, anything. Tell me about your business.
Yeah.
I usually spend, like if I do an hour-long discovery call, about 45 minutes of it is just them telling me about their business, what's going on, what's their struggles, what are you doing for your marketing, what channels are you on, what's working, what isn't working, where do your customers mostly come from, who's your target customer? These are all, I'm just asking questions.
Yep.
And they talk about themselves and you're listening, which shows that you care, which then allows them to trust you. But they're also talking about themselves and the wall that's up is slowly coming down.
Right.
And they talk about themselves, you learn about them, but that's a way for them to get invested in you. It's just a weird psychology thing where like the more they talk, the more that they're going to want to keep talking, keep being a part of this process that's just beginning.
You're just like,
yes.
So the next thing is, so first we ask the questions, they became engaged.
Mm-hmm.
So engaged, enlightened is, that's you running down the beach. The third thing is we want to give value. We want to give them something. So we want to educate them in some way, answer their questions, tell them what they need to know. You gave an example about a book that you had read, or no, it was a business coach that you had.
Yeah.
And actually that came and told you, do this, do this, do this, do this, and told you you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
So give them the things. That's okay if,
And it's kind of crazy because I remember I've had this happen many times where when I was just starting out, I remember I was producing one podcast and they had a guest on, and the guest was on. He also has a podcast, and he was having some like technical issues with his microphone and setup. And I'm like, well, hey man, I'll help you out. Like, let's schedule like a free consultation call, an hour, and I'll help answer any questions. So we did that. Now this guy here, he could easily have just hired me. I could have just said, hey, let me produce your podcast. But I walked into it with no intention of like him hiring me. My intention was only, I'm going to help this guy out. And we call it here the Midwest mindset, where it's helping other people without expecting anything in return. And it has the highest return of all, right? So if you walk into it and you're like, I'm just going to help them, I'm going to give them something of value, I'm not going to ask for anything, you're going to build trust. And it impresses people and it connects people with you in such a powerful way.
So I have two examples. This week alone, and last week, I went and spoke and did a whole presentation for 3 hours. It was a workshop, and I gave tons of value. Two of them in the last week have decided, one to work with me exclusively, and the other one to work probably with us. And it was all based on value-based giving, not expecting anything. So engage with them, give value. So ask questions first, engage them, give them value, educate them, and the last thing, that empowers them to buy. So why do you think it empowers them to buy?
Well, they are invested in it.
Yes.
They are empowered. So we did this when I was producing, we did a TV show called Omaha Live. We had $500 budget per 30-minute episode. Gross. Like, that's before taxes. So fortunately, I was married and she had a better paying job, or I would have been out on the streets. But we ended up with a cast by the end of the show. Like, we did 7 seasons over 5 years. Became like the #1 show in the market. Everybody thought it was produced at a television studio. We literally produced it like guerrilla filming style, and at the basement of my dad's church when the women's quilting group left, literally on Friday nights. So, but anyhow, we pieced this thing together. It started off with just me and my brother. By the end of it, we had 23 people who were each volunteering about 15 hours a week of their time.
Wow.
It was like a part-time job because we had a writing staff, we had writers meetings, and then we had set for like crew and production. And then on Saturdays and Sundays, like all day we were filming because those were the only days people had off. So we had actors coming in and people coming to run the cameras. And what was interesting for me, and it really kind of changed my leadership style, was I found that when I empowered them and gave them ownership in the show, then they were committed and they were like, oh yeah, I'll do it. And I would do the same things that they did. Like, I would say, listen, I'll set up all the lights, I'll do the grunt work. I'm not just gonna ask you to do it, right? Like, I'll film your sketch if you film mine, And I think that set the tone. But I said, this is your show. Like, this is all of us, this is ours, right? It empowered people to be like, okay, this is mine. I'm gonna do something with this.
So it empowers people but everything that you've given and everything you explained in this example, it empowers them to make the decision like, yes, I do want to work with you. Because you just asked great questions, you gave great value, and so that is paramount to how you're gonna get the best clients that you can get.
Well, we just had a sales call today, and we went through the process. On our end, we do a lot of R&D and research before the call because we want to know the market.
Well, we did discovery call first.
Yeah, first we did discovery call, and that was where we just asked questions, right? That was like what Tracy was saying. We spent an hour just asking questions, getting a feel for like, what do you want to accomplish? What's your goals? What are your pain points? What are your struggles? What are you doing now? What's all the different marketing channels that you're on, and get their insight, right? Then we take it and we did all the R&D on ourselves. We did a full marketing,
research analysis.
Brief, competitor analysis. And we didn't walk into the meeting today with, hey, here's all these facts, right? No, we walked in today and said, based on what you told us, like, here's the value, here's the opportunities that are at play. And so I think in the meeting, I intentionally, like, I'm focusing on what they want, what they need. And I'm not focusing on the factual side of things. I'm saying,
and you can nerd out. Let's just be real.
I can go.
You
down
like to nerd. Yeah, we
the rabbit hole and
squirrel. Woo-hoo.
Yep. But it was still focused on him, and I'm always pulling them into the, like, what do you think? What questions do you have? You know, how does that feel? Are we on track? Off track?
Yep.
So asking questions is one of the best things you can do in any situation. I mean, you get in a fight with your wife, ask questions.
Ask better questions.
Ask questions. Like, don't make statements, ask questions.
And listen.
And listen, yes. But listening shows respect.
It does.
You know, and it builds that trust. Okay, so what are we going to do about it? So today our free download in the show notes. The link is in the show notes. You can download it today. It is our no pitch template. Now, this is a pitch that's not a pitch. So we're going to sell without selling, right? Okay. The way it works is you go through this. You're going to find who's your target customer, what is their want. We're going to hit on the 3 problems, like the external problem, which is like, I need a car to get from A to B.
Yep.
The internal problem, I need a car to show up my neighbor Todd. And then the philosophical, I need to be a part of something bigger than myself. I'm going to get a car that's, you know, an electric vehicle. So I'm not, like, contributing to, climate change and all that. But we want to position you as the guide, as the leader. We're going to present the plan to the prospect that you're talking to. And then we're going to paint the picture. You're like, what's going to happen? What's the end result? So go through this. It's the no pitch guide. Fancy name.
A tongue twister.
Yeah, woo! No pitch guide. But selling today is different than selling a few years ago. The last thing I wanted to hit on is the current marketing funnel, right? The marketing funnel has been shattered by Generation Z and millennials, right? They're always causing problems. But
they do.
So the traditional marketing funnel is how you might think today is, okay, I'm going to post a link in my Facebook post, and they're going to click on it. They're going to go to the website. Well, it just doesn't work anymore. People don't want to see that. They see that as an ad. They see that as a push, and that just doesn't work. What happens now, the modern marketing funnel is this. They will see a brand, your business, and then they will go do their own research.
Yes, they do.
They go to Google or YouTube and their social media channel of choice. It depends generationally, kind of where they go, but they're going to go and they're going to seek out content from you to get validation on, are they really this thing that they said, you know? And they're going to go and they look for content. And that's why content today is so critical, because you need content that is behind the scenes, that's authentic. I mean, like here, we're doing a podcast, we're having a casual conversation, we're presenting something of value to you. And so that is what works. That is how people are going to build trust. And that's how you get people into your business, into that modern marketing funnel. It does not work to just be overt and just sell. If it looks like a sale, it's not going to sell.
So something that's really important in this, everything we're talking about today, is to be patient. Some of the largest clients that I've had over the years have came from nurturing them for a couple years. I've had some 2 years, 3 years. I've had some over a year. And all of a sudden, no doesn't mean no forever. It may mean no for now.
Not right now.
Right, right. So I'm never pushy. I'm not sitting there, like, I'm not there to bug them. I'm there to give them value. If they're going to need me, if it's ever, I'm more about the relationship than the transaction. So staying patient is the key that I would like to say to anyone. Stay curious and just take the time to build that relationship.
And worst case scenario, maybe they never become a client. You still built a great relationship with a good person.
They might refer you. I mean, I've had people that never became a client.
They'll refer you,
Yeah, because it's they just are like, gosh, she's helped so much, or he's helped so much.
I've had that happen too.
Yeah,
we had one of our podcast clients, and they just did a podcast on their own. It's not like for a business or anything. It was 2 guys. It was one of the earliest podcasts I had, and great people. Like, I've gone and hung out with them, and like we've kind of become friends. And they just didn't have the budget. Like, one of the guys, I think, lost his job or left the company or whatever, and they just said, we can't afford to pay for this. And I thought, man, well, it's just, that sucks, because it's like a really popular podcast, and I'm like, this kind of sucks. I don't know what they're going to do. I said, you know what, guys, we'll cover it. Like let us be like your sponsor for the show or something, you know, and we'll see how it goes. And like we had a few leads come in through that, but it was the wife of the host who I know, and she kind of manages the podcast. She starts recommending us to all these people. She recommends us to a $600 million company. And they are now a client that we're doing work with and producing a podcast for. So it's these gestures, you could call it. It's this commitment to that Midwest mindset.
Yep.
But when you do that, that's going to have the highest return. And it's tough to do because in the moment, especially when you're starting out, you're like, oh man, I got to eat tonight.
Come from a giving heart.
Come from a giving heart.
Yep.
Have patience, ask questions, and download our free no pitch template, which is in the show notes. It is free. Click on the link and download it. For Tracy Winkler, I'm Matt Tompkins. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on the Content Box.